Hello, welcome to Siege Rants. It's a little idea I had somewhat recently, as on some recommendation of people who enjoyed some of my other stuff, where I just sort of sat here and talked. Thought it'd be something I can do every so often. Just do this. Now, I actually had a different plan for what this first one was going to be, but I'm still going to do that. But my first thing to discuss has sort of been changed because it's appropriate to today, and that is to do with Grand Theft Auto. So, today it is, well, Wednesday the 19th, and there was a big old leak in Grand Theft Auto by a group. Not saying their name, because I don't know enough about them to want to, I wouldn't say endorse, but mention. Um, so, I'm not going to mention who they are. But if you've seen them, you'll know them. They have their own watermark on there. I've seen a lot of people have blanked out, like censored out their watermark because again, don't know much about them. In fact, I think their watermark is is referencing some cryptocurrency they made, so there's that as well. So that's why I'm not going to mention them. But mostly, I want to discuss what sort of has happened with this and why I personally have my problems with Grand Theft Auto 6. I've discussed them before on stream, but I don't even remember which stream that was in. That was at the start. I think it was when it was around the first announcements of some of the Sony stuff. Or it was right beforehand, and I've been pretty strong against Sony's current actions. I've talked openly about it. I'm taking part in the blackout from the 23rd to the 30th. I'm taking part in that. Uh, whether it has any effect, I don't know, but I'm still doing it because I believe it's something that should be done. So, with that out of the way, what is it about GTA 6 that makes me and others against it? Is sort of what I wanted to talk about here. Because there are very different opinions, of course. Like anything, it's not too simple. And I've heard all sides of the argument around this, and I've seen a lot of sides, particularly in regards to this leak. So the reason some of the sides that have come about is, and I will fully admit what side I sort of sit on, is I have looked at this leak and I have basically found it quite funny. A bit of Schadenfreude, you might even say. And I've seen people ask this very important question. It's a very good question, and they're not wrong with this. They asked, why are people talking about this leak? It looks just like any other GTA. They're correct. But therein lies the point. Now, if you haven't kept up on anything happening with GTA 6 has been in works for, what do they say, 12 years, something like that. I think the cost is like over like a ridiculous amount. I think it's only $1 billion or something. I don't know the exact numbers. I'd have to look that up. In fact, let me do that right now. This will take me 10 seconds. I just want to be triply sure what the amount is. I don't want to say the wrong amount. Yeah, between $1 and $3 billion. Um, is the first thing that comes up about that's source Reddit. So take that as you will, but that's what I've heard. It's the numbers I've heard before. So it's one of the most expensive games ever. In fact, it will be the most expensive game ever as far as production. It will also become one of the most expensive games to buy outright ever. Here in Australia, it is, I believe. Let me check. I happen to have everything open in front of me, so I can easily find it. Um, I hate having a look at this. Um, that's fascinating. The first version that comes up is the expensive version. Actually, can you not even get the other versions now? Yes, you can. So the standard edition is $130. If you want me to be 100% accurate, $129.95. And the enhanced edition, which is actually funny enough, the one that first comes up when you search it, suspicious, $159.95. It is arguably now the most expensive game to be released here in Australia. And I don't think anything's going to top that for a while. Even its standard edition is more expensive than other games. For example, Death Stranding 2 is like 110. So the standard edition is $10 more than that, and that's another big game that's technically that's exclusive. That is a PlayStation exclusive. They've got that. There you go, Sony. You can have that, and that's a great game. I love it. Um, I'd grab the statue, but it's too far, and also not point to us. So yeah, it's expensive. And all this stuff. And with this leak, a lot of stuff has happened, and let's get back on track. So I went a little off. I went a little off kilter there. That happens to me a lot. So to get back on track, people have mentioned that this game looks just like a GTA. Why are people mad? And that's the point. Not mad. Again, I am mad, but my anger isn't because I isn't is for different reasons. My anger is at the fans and at Take Two and Rockstar, but not because I expected something different. This game is exactly what I expected. The footage of it shown is exactly what I expected. The people who are most mad and are definitely trying to justify it are the fans, the hyper fans you could call them. My anger is at them. It's the hypocrisy, and of course, being a hypocrite is one of the worst things you can ever be. Of course, I have problems with people who are hypocrites. It's why I'm taking. It's one of the reasons I'm taking part in this whole thing because I don't want to be seen as that. I'm taking a stand because I'm taking a stand, so I'm going to take part in something like that. Different story. Hypocrisy. The methods of trying to now spin the narrative and just ignoring stuff they've said before about this. GTA is a fun game. I won't lie. I've enjoyed them. Full transparency, I've played a few of them. I have played the first GTA twice. I think, yeah, twice. I got it with my PS3 years ago, and I played the PS4 version, which I think I got free. I don't remember exactly. Do I still have it? One moment. No, I think no. I gave it away. That's right. I gave it to my dad, because he had his PlayStation. I didn't want it anymore. So I played that twice. I have played and platinumed all three PS2 games. I have technically done them twice, you could argue, because I have also done their remasters. And I have also played GTA 4. I have played Red Dead 1 on PS3 and its PS4 remaster and platinumed it. And I have played Red Dead 2 three times, twice off stream and once on stream. And I've also platinumed that. So, full transparency, I have played these games. Hell, I enjoyed them. I'll be entirely honest. I like Red Dead 2. But they're not perfect. And that's the problem. It's the way people talk about them, and specifically with GTA. This is a game that is 3 months away from its launch, and this leak is the first actual gameplay footage we have gotten. Aside from a much, much older leak a few years back, which caused Rockstar to have to announce, yes, we are doing GTA 6, because I think they hadn't yet announced it. The fact that it is 3 months out and only now the only footage that's come out was this leak, and in about a week was meant to be the trailer. More on that in a minute. Don't worry, I'll be discussing it. Is mostly where the problems are. They were demanding, at minimum, 130. I'm going to round up here, and I'm using Australian dollars. Just deal with that. There's no point getting in the nitty gritty about, oh, it's actually 129.95. It's 5 cents. I can round it up to the nearest dollar. $130 for a game that they had shown no footage of and were entirely based off of their goodwill. But goodwill only takes you so far. And again, I won't lie. They've made good games, but nothing that justifies this. The culmination of everything Rockstar has made that I have played and enjoyed. Bully, the GTA trilogy, the HD trilogy, no, 3D trilogy, not HD trilogy. This is the HD trilogy, technically, this. 4, 5, Red Dead 1, Red Dead 2. I'm just going off ones I've played. None of that justifies this. None of the time I have played has justified this. No game I have played justifies a $130 minimum for a standard edition. A standard edition that cuts out things that shouldn't be there. The removal of content, or the locking of content behind Ultimate Editions, is in of itself a bad thing. It's not new, it's been going around a while. It goes back to the PS3 and Xbox 360 generation. Ubisoft did it with Assassin's Creed 3. I believe it was either you had to pre-order it or it was only on the PS3 version, but you got extra missions which took place in a different area, which revolved around Benedict Arnold, one of the most famous people of the Revolutionary War in America, because he betrayed America. And he gets referenced in that game's DLC. But if you didn't have the console for it or didn't pre-order it, you don't get that. So it's not new, but it's definitely become way more prevalent. And the fact that it's also, how do I explain it? The fact that it's not just little things. I think that's how it started. Is as is always, the term slippery slope has been overused because whenever I think about it, I usually think of it when people were referring to bad stuff, like, for example, people called same-sex marriage a slippery slope, which I think, but they were doing it negatively. I think maybe a better idea is a rolling stone or a marble going downhill. Same meaning, different terminology that doesn't immediately make me think of bad stuff, like sexist, misogynist, racist arguments, which most of the times people use it for. Getting to my point, it sort of started with oh, it's just cosmetic stuff, and then now it is still cosmetic stuff technically, but it's stuff in the game. Like beforehand, it would be maybe oh, a different skin you can set your character to, or a different skin for a weapon. And I'll be honest, most of them were pretty shit. These cosmetics in these games, they were pretty crap. But now it's story missions. Like it's straight up said story missions, and I think it's 4 stores that you can't access in the game. This is just silly. And again, those 4 stores are entirely cosmetic. One's I think one's a hair salon. There's one that's for car for cosmetics for your car. What do you call that? uh, for mechanics, I guess would be the correct term. And considering what we've seen today, looks like they're going to do a big focus on your own personal vehicle. It really is just it's not good. It's kind of mean. It's just mean spirited. And it's on purpose. Again, you go onto the PlayStation Store right now, I just did it, and you look at GTA, and the first one that comes up is the expensive version, $160. Because they want you to get that one. And that is the most pre ordered version, because they know, and again, it's Rockstar and Take Two. I'm putting them both together. I'm not giving anyone benefit of the doubt. They are both together in that. And not just them, I'll include Sony on that. The fact that a week after the announcement of discless GTA 6, Sony is like, discless future, it's clearly timed way too perfectly. And I think they knew, because more people are going to play it on the PS5 than on Xbox. And of course, it's not coming to PC for a while. Yeah, it's they clearly want you to do that, and they clearly are doing it because they're like, you know, again, one's the correct version, one's the poor version, and that's how people have talked about it, and that's where I get to my anger at the fans. The fans have basically straight up called people who were complaining about this poor, or saying, oh, you don't like it, get the poor version, or just don't get all that, or you're not going to buy it, oh, you must be poor, which comes into this whole aspect where it's the old Gordon Gekko, greed is good. You've got to be a dickhead and flaunt your cash to be seen as cool. I thought we left that in the fucking 90s, but apparently we didn't. Because I've seen a certain guy from Quebec, and I'll never forget when he was getting criticized, and his method of showing, of I guess, hitting back at his criticism was showing his expensive watch. Wow, you clearly show that you are bad with money because you're wasting on an expensive timepiece. You don't need an expensive timepiece. This thing right here tells me the time. Alright? And it also does other shit. Like, expensive watches I've never understood really many expensive things. And again, I've bought dumb shit. It's all behind me. So yeah, even I can admit I've done dumb shit, but at least that fills a goal where it makes me happy. And permanently makes me happy. Not like a one-off thing where it's like, But that's that. it's the argument of a wealth disparity, maybe not wealth disparity, but more like people just using the idea of like if you don't like it, you're poor, and there is a term for that, and I'm drawing a blank. But it's very classist, basically. It's saying you're above them simply because you have money, which is mean. It's mean spirited and it's not true. I do have the capability to buy GTA 6. I don't want to because it's stupid. Before the PlayStation shit, I actually was maybe going to eventually when it was minimum half price. Now I'm not going to full stop on principle. It's that like the other stuff has made me now decide I'm never going to. So there's that. That's one reason I don't like him. Like the fans. The second, and this is the other big thing, is the way they act about GTA. And this is where we get into the problems. Not the problems, but we get into the point about how my first point when I said how people looked at this leak and said, "What's the problem here? It looks just like Grand Theft Auto." Correct. I expected GTA 6 to be Grand Theft Auto, and it will be. But GTA fanboys expected it to be the second coming of Jesus Christ. The way they talk about it and Rockstar is literally like it's God's gift, their God's gift to mankind. The term transcends gaming was quite literally used by some people. Grand Theft Auto does not transcend gaming. It was indeed very popular, and companies did do stuff to emulate its popularity. Naughty Dog changed everything of how Jack and Daxter was, which was a 3D platformer, to use guns, have a small little hub city, and vehicles you drove, simply because GTA 3 was really popular. Many games used a similar format of GTA, of the open city where you drive around and stuff, and have a sandbox, and would get called GTA coins, which is ironic because many games got stamped with that, even when they weren't. The Yakuza games got stamped with GTA clone. They are the furthest thing from a GTA clone. Sleeping Dogs is closer to that. And I love Sleeping Dogs. It's a far better game. I'll be entirely honest. I think it's a much better game. And it doesn't. And I think the stamp of GTA clone soured a lot of games because people heard that and thought, oh, it must be shit. Because when you think of something as being a clone of something, you think it's lesser. So hearing that, you think, oh, it must be worse than GTA. It's just trying to copy it. Which they weren't. And that's not to say that games trying to copy other things that exist. I already referenced Jak 2, literally. Jak 2 did what it did simply because of GTA 3 being very popular. It might have been Vice City, it was one of them. It was in the PS2 era. Give me just a second, just need some tea. But there's no reason to talk about GTA like it's this amazing thing. Yeah, it did some new stuff, but and yeah, it definitely. I don't even know if I would say it pushed boundaries. It pushed boundaries for games, certainly for when it came to like violence. And Rockstar have done that with other things. They did with Manhunt. Manhunt's still banned here in Australia and New Zealand because of its violence. And like, yeah, I mean, GTA 5 got in trouble because of the whole the mission where you have to torture someone as Trevor. You know, all the GTA's got in trouble as well. For like infamously, there was I think it was Vice City was the one I talked about how you could get in a car, pick up a prostitute, and then kill her with a chainsaw and take your money back, and everyone was like, start clutching at the pearls, like, oh no. Yeah, it's violent certainly, but it doesn't lead to violence, and it got accused of that all the time. There's nothing about these games that's amazing, and again, they're fun. And I think that's why I and others have been making fun today of people who, when it came to this leak. Because it wasn't just this leak, it's been happening beforehand. It happened the other day as well. And this is where it comes into the hypocrisy angle. It was announced, or it was revealed, that GTA 6 will run at, I believe it's capped at 30 frames per second. Now, I'm not someone who's ever really been a big frames per second guy. I'm not a pixel counter. I don't sit there and obsess over every little detail about the hardware and software and how it all works. But even I know that for a game coming out on the PS5 and Series X, that is unacceptable. When we've got games that are running at 60 FPS, there is no reason for this to be capped at that. And the hypocrisy is I have seen GTA fanboys online defending this. Their arguments, oh, well, Red Dead 2 and GTA 5 were 30 FPS, so that's fine, because they were both very good games, and so it's okay that it's capped at that, because blah 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 blah. It's the same people criticizing Nintendo's Switch for being capped at 30 FPS. I don't know if Switch 2 is. I don't have the specs in front of me. Frankly, it doesn't matter. Because even if the Switch 2 is 60 FPS, the point still stands. They criticized Nintendo's newest console at the time for not being up to snuff as other consoles. And now, when their game that they believe is their child, essentially, that they're talking about it like, is going to be that, they're now fully backflipping to say, actually, it's a good thing if it is. When there's no need for this game to be capped that way. GTA 5 did, because it was released for the PS3 and Xbox 360. It only then got ported twice to the PS4 and Xbox One, and now 5 and Series X, which is insane. Utterly insane. No game is good enough for that. We know why it is, of course. It's the online. The online became so popular. And that, I think, is also why they're talking about it this way. It's the online of GTA. I don't think Rockstar expected GTA Online to be as big as it did. In fact, I know for certain they didn't. Because let's not forget, they had planned 3 story DLC for GTA 5. GTA 4 was the first game, I want to say, that had DLC. The closest we had to anything else was there were the spin-offs from from 3 Vice City and San Andreas. Vice City Stories and what was the other one? Oh my god, Liberty City Stories. And then I think there was Chinatown Wars. I think Chinatown Wars was also a part of that. But those were separate games. They were spin-off games set in the same universe, set in between them. Nowadays, something like that would have just been released likely as DLC. It wouldn't have been its own spin-off game. Similar to how GTA 4 did The Lost and Damned and The Ballad of Gay Tony. Now, 5 was going to do these, but then the online just became so big, and all their updates they could keep doing for that and adding to that for free meant that they didn't need to. Like they had a fan base now, basically by the short and curlies, and they weren't gonna, and they gladly were happy to be held there, and they were able to just keep making money through simple microtransactions by charging for shark cards, and people would buy them. Lots of people would buy them. You'd have to. Like if an update came out for a new heist shit or whatever, you'd have to buy that stuff, and you'd either have to grind for real money. Grind for money in the game, or do it this way, because the online basically came like almost like a Mamorpica style thing. Um, like it's like people just jump into it once a day and do their jobs that they had to try and make some money. It was ridiculous. And I've played a bit of the online. I played a bit with some friends I had. This was years later though, and I didn't get it. I'll be honest. It wasn't for me. I'm not really much of a multiplayer guy to begin with. But I think the other issue with Rockstar and this game is that that's what people want. These people who want this, who are excited for this, they are excited for another GTA Online. And I don't think they're going to get that. Let's look at Red Dead Online. It failed. It still has players, it has people who roleplay in it, but it didn't work. Because Rockstar wanted another GTA Online and tried to get that immediately. Oh, sorry about that. Let me turn that down. Sorry about that. Nothing important. So yeah. What was I? Yes. I don't think they can do another GTA Online like that because Red Dead failed. They went too fast too soon. They wanted Red Dead Online to be at the same state that GTA Online is now straight away. But that wasn't going to happen. I think GTA Online's popularity was a fluke because GTA 4 had an online mode and it didn't get anywhere as big as GTA Online. The fact that we call GTA 5's one simply GTA Online. We don't call it Grand Theft Auto 5 multiplayer. We don't call it Grand Theft Auto 5 Online. It's just GTA Online. All right, you could buy GTA Online separately. Like, that's how big it got. That's what people want, and this game isn't launching with an online. I don't know how many people know that. I strongly suspect there are many people who don't realize that this game is not launching with an online, and I don't think it's going to get to the same level as the as fives did. So yes, the people were correct. This game looks just like a GTA game, and that's correct. But that's not what they wanted. They want this game to be something else. They want this game to be. I don't know what they want. And I have a theory as to why so many of them look at GTA this way. And I could be wrong. This is merely a theory. But it sends back to a joke I saw online around the time of the upcoming GTA 6. Lifelong GTA fan finally excited to play his second game. When GTA 5 came out, I was about 14. It has been over a decade since then. In fact, it's been nearly, what, 15 years? I'm now about to be 27. I've basically gone through my, teenage life and early adult life to being there. And assuming other people were my age and played it as well when it came out, or around the time it came out, they had it as a child. I think so much of it comes down to simply one thing: nostalgia. Or the fact that they remember life when they were a teenager, when things were still rosy and the world was bright. I don't want to act like everything becomes jaded when you become an adult, but it definitely does a bit. And there are points in your childhood that are popular. Why do you think there are so many things online that people use that are nostalgia bait, like images of like AI made images of an Xbox with games there? It's like, no day one pass, no it was like no online, no day one update, no blah blah blah, just good vibes. It's trying to clutch at the memory of when you were young and everything seemed bright. It's like how this month the most popular game, the best selling games of August, were or for PlayStation at the least, were re-releases of Black Ops 1 and 2. Why did so many people who at first were announcing they were willing to be, to not buy anything digital from PlayStation anymore with this no disc thing, then went and bought it? Because they remember good times from when they were younger playing Black Ops. Because they were teenagers. They remember the nights of being in their room with their headset on, microphone there, this thing right here down, talking into it. Better not do that because it turns on and then it'll might fuck up my own mic. I should make sure it's not after that. Oops. It helps if I hit the right button, doesn't it? Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Yeah, they remember those nights, sitting there up to like, 11 p.m., maybe even midnight, on a Friday night or a Saturday night. They don't have to worry about getting up early for school the next day. And they're sitting there playing zombies or playing multiplayer rounds of different games with their friends, and that's what they remember. They have good memories of that. And nothing takes away from that. You can have good memories of your childhood. But they see a game that they remember that they played as a child coming back, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to play it again. I loved it." But they didn't love the game. They loved the memories they had. Like anything, doing something with friends is fun. A bad game is fun with friends. Resident Evil 6 is one of the worst games I can think of. It's absolute garbage. I've played it a year or two ago. I don't remember exactly when. But I did it with a friend, and I had fun. I've seen people replay Resident Evil 5, a game that also is considered not as good, considering the previous title, but they play it co-op and it's fun. I played Fallout 76, one of the worst games I have ever played. But when I did some stuff with a friend of mine, when he was helping me get a few trophies I needed, we had fun. The fun wasn't the game, the fun was doing something with a friend. And I think that's a lot of it for GTA Online. The people who remember GTA Online and have good memories of GTA 5's online, most of their good memories come from that specifically. They remember having fun with a friend, and they're sort of conflating the two. Because yeah, GTA Online was the catalyst that allowed them to spend time with people and have fun. But if you only have one of those, the catalyst, but not the friend part, you're not going to get it. And friends come and go. Friends I had when I was 14 are gone. They just grew apart. It happens. And again, going back to being honest, I never really played GT Online, but even when I did play it a few years back with the people that I played it with, we did some heists together. They basically played it in a way where I got the full payout for the max for the newest heist. It was the island one, so I got money in it. I don't talk to them anymore. No, they've gone. Did I have fun playing those heists with them? Yeah, but you know, I played them as an adult, so I don't have that same nostalgic memory to it that others do. I think that's why this game has people wanting it this way, and I think that's why they're talking about it. Because they've grown up and haven't had anything new to really fill that void. The closest they could have gotten to filling that void was Red Dead Online, and Red Dead Online just didn't work for it. And I don't know if this one will either. The final things I guess I want to talk about with it, and what came out with this leak, is just a few other little things that I think make no sense gameplay wise. And this is more where my concerns for it come from. I remember long before it was announced, you had people who wanted this game to have things like refueling your car. Because for some people, they wanted this game to be a life simulator. Because again, they specifically wanted the online to be a life simulator because they want to go in there and play it with their friends and for some reason live out their life. I've never understood life simulators like that. Even Sims, the biggest life simulator game out there, is still absurd. Like you can buy shit that you would never have. The Grim Reaper shows up. You can befriend him. I think you can have sex with him. Even I don't know. It's an absurdist game still. Like you can literally beg for your life to death, and he'd be like, "All right, I'll let you go." Like it's an absurdist game despite being a life sim. These people wanted this game to have refueling, and it does apparently, at least according to this leak. Supposedly the leak's an older build. Don't know how old. So either at some point they maybe changed their mind and took it out, or they kept it in there. But the idea of having to refuel your car in a Grand Theft Auto is just weird to me. But this also leads to my point of how many people want this single player to almost be like the online. In single player GTA games, going back forever basically, up until really 5, and 5 even is not that much different, cars came and went. You never really worried about your cars. You'd just steal a new one when you needed it. When your one either stopped working, either it flipped or the tires were flattened or something or other, or was set on fire and about to explode. You just took a new one. You could save a car by parking in your garage and using it in between missions, but you never really were overly bothered about keeping your car. You'd repair them, but really the only reason to repair your cars was to lose a wanted level. A couple of missions require you to have a car not be damaged. I think there's two that I can think of in GTA 3 that require that, and so you have to use it for that method, but for that reason. But otherwise, yeah, they never really mattered. 5, every character had their own unique vehicle, um, but really it was only in the online where unique vehicles really became a thing. And of course, if a vehicle blew up, you got charged in game money to, for it to be repaired from your insurance. And you got it back. But in the single player, like, I don't believe that happened. If you bought a car, which you could, and got it tricked out and it blew up, it was gone. At least from memory. Maybe they updated it later. I don't quite remember. So, really, you just would either steal cars or use the character's unique vehicle. But because of how Red Dead 2 had the whole system where your horse was unique, you'd call for your horse would show up, they're taking that sort of idea and extending it to your car. So I think that's why they're including the mechanics of having to get your car repaired to make sure it's, you know, tuned up so it's not damaged, and also being able to refuel it because you want to take care of it like your baby, like some people do with cars. I'm not a car guy. I'll be entirely honest. I don't care about cars. It gets you to point A to point C via point B. That's all it is. I don't really care about cars. I'm not an engine person. I'm not a rev head of any type. I don't care about them. But yeah, but it looks like that's what they want you to do. But then there's another really weird thing that they've taken from Red Dead: an honor system. Red Dead Redemption had this, but it made sense in a way. It's in the name, redemption. Part of the idea of both of them is that you're trying to sort of redeem yourself before you die, and you could go either way. You start right in the middle, you do bad stuff by robbing people, killing them, whatever, you go down. You do good stuff, you go up. And now we're having this in GTA. Could you imagine? You steal a car. The crime that the game is named for, and your honor goes down. I thought of this while talking about it with someone, about the refueling aspect. Are you going to have to go to a service station, fuel up your car, and then make a moral dilemma? Do you A, go inside and pay for it, like a good boy, and get good boy points, not lose morality, or B, get in your car and drive off with it committing a crime? The thing you do in Grand Theft Auto, and lose moral points. Why are there moral points in GTA? You don't. Driving through GTA, you're going to run people over, you're going to hit cars, you're going to do all this stuff, you're going to get in shootouts, you're going to just randomly get. How often? Think about just yourself playing GTA. How often have, like, something happened, you've hit a car of an NPC, and, like, maybe you've lost a tire, and just out of frustration, you've shot him. It's GTA. You can do that, you get away with it. But now, instead, they're going to go, doom, bad point. You did bad. You did a bad thing. You did a bad thing in your game about committing crimes. I referenced earlier about Vice City, how that game infamously had the whole thing that everyone would talk about, where you could hire a prostitute, kill them, get your money back. You're going to get bad points if you do that, though, so don't do it. That'll be bad. Like, a moral system in a GTA game makes no sense. In any sandbox, it makes no sense. Because, like, the idea is you should be able to do anything. You should be able to just randomly do that crap, because it's the point. You know, there are some people who like to go on rampages in those games. Won't be able to now. Moral points lose. Actually, rampages are a good point. GTA games have had rampages since 3. I think 4 didn't, but many of them had that, where you'd have to just go and fight people. You'd have to just kill them. 5 also had them. I think I don't know how many there were. Traditionally, it was like 20 in GTA 3. I think it was 20 in Vice City as well. But they were only for Trevor, where you just went on a massive rampage. Basically, it's just a huge killing spree. How can they morally justify that in this game's moral system? Red Dead 2's moral system is no perfect for this exact reason. Again, let's not forget one of the earlier missions you have is you have to rescue Micah, and then you have a massive shootout in Strawberry. You shoot through the entire town. And I don't believe it affects your morals. It might, but I don't believe story missions had those effect on your moral points. So what's the point of the moral system? It either is used in everything or it's used not at all. So the only time it gets used is in the sandbox. So only during the sandbox missions are you required to. Only when doing shit in the sandbox are you required to follow rules. But in missions, do whatever you want. When the sandbox is the point where you should be allowed to do whatever you want. Considering that GTA's mission systems, and not just GTA, but Rockstar's mission systems, are already quite restrictive. You can't go off road. You got to stick to the road. You got to do exactly what they want. You can't make some slight detours. You can't make changes. I think about how GTA 3 had a mission where you have to go and pick up prostitutes. You need to get 8 of them in total. Now, a car only seats 4 people, so plus yourself, you can only pick up 3 at a time, meaning you need to do minimum 3 round trips. Or, you could go and steal a bus, pick up all 8 at once, and drop them off in one go. Modern GTA would not allow that. The mission would have your character probably get all dressed up in a suit or something. You'd get in a limousine. You'd drive to location to location. The girls would probably talk in the back seat and do stuff. Shit would happen just to go nuts. They'd start moving around and the car would lose control. And you'd be forced to take a specific path, and if you veered off even slightly, you'd get a game over. They're very controlling, considering this freedom that they used to have. It is, yeah. It's very strange. The final thing about the leak I think I want to address that is disappointing, I guess, and more to the fact of how these people are praising this game is the map. Now, this map could be wrong. It might change. We don't know when this map was made. But they showed off a map of Vice City, and it's highly, highly disappointing. For one, it's an island, yet again. I don't like the island style that they've done with GTA 5 and now this one, where the entire map is just surrounded by water. At least even with Red Dead 1 and 2, they were creative. At the very south, to keep you out of Mexico, was not the Rio Grande. It had a different name, but it's the Rio Grande. And then once you were in Mexico, you had mountains, a mountain range to keep you out. Same up north, a big old mountain range to keep you from exiting the map. In in Red Dead 2, you've got again the Rio Grande in New Austin, so you can't get into Mexico, and you've got like most of the river that because you can't swim very far, and John can't swim at all, and then you've got the ocean or something like the ocean. I don't know what exactly it is to the east, and then up north, mountains, mountains you cannot get past. I'm fine with mountains. You want to use mountains? Hell, even I'm fine even with just invisible walls. Put up a big wall at the exit to the map, like an on ramp to an overpass that you run into, and it's like, oh nope, you can't leave. Or do what they did in the old ones, where they just had like barriers in the way, literally like cones you couldn't break down to at least make it not quite an invisible wall, something like that. But no, they instead have it surrounded by an island. It's just weirder. It's just even stranger to have this isolated island surrounded by water. Many open world games try to come up with ways to enclose their map, and this is just lazy. It's similar to what they did with Mad Max, which was Warner Brothers, I believe. And that also was a similar thing. It was a big desert. You went out into there, and eventually you died. No matter how far you went, you couldn't get very far. You would die. And this is the same. GTA 5 was the same. You're on a boat, or you try swimming out to sea, you get eaten by a shark. You go out in the boat. I believe what happens after a while is the boat breaks down. You jump out, you get eaten by a shark. That's how they kept you in. So it's no different. Just do invisible walls. It's the same basic principle. There's something keeping you there. The island's just lazy. And in a similar vein to GTA 5, the island's shape isn't all that different. Not only that, but it's also empty. So much of it is empty. It's actually disgusting. Like, why? It's similar to Red Dead 2. As much as I enjoy Red Dead 2, it's really empty. Like, between the towns, there's not much. And again, the same applies to Red Dead 1 as well. Red Dead 1's even worse, because besides Armadillo, there's barely anywhere. Like, you got the McFarlane Ranch, what's it called? I'm basically trying to think of the map, because, like, Armadillo's here, the McFarlane Ranch was up around here-ish, and then over here was, it's like Thieves Landing? Yeah, Thieves Landing, that was it, I believe. And then further north from there was, Blackwater, but you can't get to Blackwater at that point. And then I think there's one other town. No, there isn't. That town's only in Red Dead 2 because it's a prequel. By the time of Red Dead 1, it's been abandoned. So yeah, it's just Armadillo. And I think there's like maybe one other point that has like a few people living in it in a ranch. And there's nothing there. There's a place you can rest to save your game, that's it. Like, and in Mexico, I think there's 3 places, and only one of them is really a city. One's a city, or a city, a town. Then there's a fort, and then there's I think an empty little place. It's a very empty game. Like so much of it's empty, and this GTA 6 looks to be the same. Like it's just disappointing. Go for a big city. GTA 3 was a whole city. You know, there's at least stuff to see. It didn't feel empty. It was buildings and stuff. You know, Vice City also a city. You know, it's in the name. San Andreas, 3 cities, towns in between them. You know, the map was large enough, and the towns might have been tiny. There may have been like 5 buildings at times, but at least there was something. It made it feel like a place. You know, it made it feel like an actual state with towns in between the major cities. Like, this is just. It's just stupid. Like, it looks like there'll be a few small places, but it's not different from 5. Let's not forget how GTA 5's map looked. You got Los Santos all down here. Then you got a town here on the west side, town on the east side, little town up north, and Blaine County just a little north in the desert area. I'll be more generous. A quarter of the map is just fucking Mount Chiliad. Like, so much of it was that stupid mountain and forest, and this is no different. So much of this game is just going to be empty forest with nothing to it. which is just boring. No one wants that. And if they do, I'm going to say it, you're lying. You're lying to yourself. You don't want that. What's the point? Unless it's full of stuff to find and explore, but even then, it's going to be not much. Red Dead 2, as much as I love it, even I can admit, there's many places like that, like the swamp and forest, where it's just empty. There's nothing there. One of them, it's got 4 states in that game, and one of them has no settlement to it. The one right up the north, I forget what it's called. It starts with an A, I think. It's where you start the game. Like, there's nothing there. The entire state is empty. What's the point of it? Like, there's no towns, there's nothing. You somehow have to get like a $1,500 bounty there, I think, or maybe it was 500. But yeah, you have to get a bounty there for a trophy because you have to get one in every state. Like, how do you do that? Well, there's a way, but it's like it's just empty. It's just I don't know. I don't like unnecessary empty spaces in game. I'm not saying every section of game needs to be crammed with stuff, but if I were to compare it to say like, you know, I'll compare it to a game I already compared it to that got compared to it. Yakuza. Like the cities in Yakuza games are full of stuff. Like they're not empty. Well, that's not true. One of them is in the fifth game, and it's the one I hate because so much of it is empty space. A whole third of the city is just empty. There's nothing there. Like, have stuff to do. When your game's got nothing there, it's just boring. In conclusion, my problem with the fans and this game is just the way. It's just the precedent it's setting. The fact that Rockstar were able to put out a game for $130 or $160 with everything in it, and people were defending it, disappoints me. The fact that they are able to put out a trailer on Netflix, locking it behind a paywall, and people will defend it with, well, most people have Netflix anyway, so who cares? Or, oh, it again transcends gaming, so it's fine. Oh, you're going to play this game for 15 years, so it's fine. Like, I've not played a single game for 15 years straight. I've played games on and off, but there's no game where I could say I've consistently been playing it for 15 years. No one game has been like that. You know what games are like that, though? Massive time sink games that are addictive, like MMOs. WoW. Um, you know, WoW's probably the biggest one because it's been around the longest. Final Fantasy 14, probably Final Fantasy 11. That one's still technically around. I was surprised by that to learn. Games that are addictive and keep you trapped in, which is what GTA Online is. Is why I call it an MMO. It is. It basically is an MMO almost. So yeah, and I don't think people realize the precedent that this game is setting. The precedent for going discless, meaning that you don't maybe own this game. Sony have just removed like some games or whatever. I saw someone saying something like, they fixed the article saying how like Sony removed games no one played and no one's ever heard of. I don't care if no one's ever played them or no one's ever heard of them. Probably someone's played them. Guess what? Sony just took them down and delisted it, and they aren't giving, and you probably can't get your money back if you own that game. So they just took something from you that and said, they basically came in and went, I'm taking that back. You can't have it anymore. Oh, and the money you gave me, I'm keeping it still. That's basically what they did, which isn't good. So, and that's the problem with the potential discless future is that they can do that. People try to act like they won't. It doesn't matter even if they won't. The potential's still there, and I don't trust them. I don't trust any of them. I trust not a single one of them to do that. So there's that precedent that this game is setting. The second precedent: ridiculously priced games. Gaming is getting priced out of a reasonable margin completely. The fact that they are expecting $160 for the full version of this game that doesn't have cut content is absurd. Like that is crazy. The only people who can afford that and don't complain about it are the people who only play 3 games a year. The people who only buy the newest Call of Duty, the newest NBA, and the newest FIFA. And so for them, buying the newest GTA because they're not going to play another one for 15 years, well, that seems normal to them because they haven't had to buy one in 15 years. And if they did in between them, it was just getting it on the newest console, and it was usually cheaper or something. I don't know. They didn't care. They only play X amount of games a year, so it doesn't affect them. But for people who play lots of games or play more things, it will have an effect. And if it does it for every game, that's going to make it worse. So that's the second bad precedent. Third bad precedent, this Netflix thing. You can argue that everyone's got Netflix now, but how long are they going to do that? Yeah, maybe Rockstar are doing this deal where they're having this trailer go on Netflix. What's to stop Ubisoft next year seeing how, oh, people did that? Cool, let's do our own one. We'll have our own trailer on our own website and charge $10 for it. So if people want to watch it, they got to pay us $10 right off the bat to go and watch this. Now you could argue, oh, well, no one will do that. Okay, that's Ubisoft doing it. But what's to say they're the only ones who are going to do that? What's to stop EA from doing it? What's to stop Activision from doing it? What's to stop any other one from seeing Rockstar do this and going, we can do the same, but we'll do it behind our own one? And what's to say Rockstar won't do it themselves after this? They do it this one time, see that it worked, and then they're like, cool, we can do it on our own one. It really is just setting a bad example. It's just putting things in place that do nothing but hurt people who play games. It is purely negative consumer tactics, basically. So that's kind of my rant about this. I just wanted to sort of discuss it a bit. Again, could have been clearer. I wasn't planning for this to be my first one, but I thought if I'm going to talk about it, I need to do it now, because by the time I do another one, it'd be a different time. So, yeah. Uh, enjoy. Like I said, I'm just going to do these every so often, where I'll just sit here, talk about something. I already know what my technically next one, what was going to be my first one is. It's the one that I first was inspired by. But there's no rhyme or reason to when these will be. They'll just be whenever. And although I'm calling them rants, not always are they going to be negative. There will be positive ones. I have positive ones in mind. But yeah, this was definitely a negative one. I think the best conclusion for the people as a whole for GTA, best case scenario for us. Okay, best case scenario, it completely fails. Massive flop is completely bad. Possible scenario, I don't think that's going to happen no matter what. More possible scenario, it gets fives out of tens. More probably most likely scenario, 7 out of 10s. Sadly, what is going to happen? It'll get 10s out of 10s. I already know what's going to happen. People reviews come too soon. I think the best example for that is Fallout 4. Fallout 4 came out with rave reviews. Everyone loved it. Everyone said it was best game ever. Yada yada yada. If I go on Steam right now, and I'll do it literally right now, not that you can see it, but I'm doing it. If I go on Steam and search for Fallout 4, the reviews. No, they've changed. Recent reviews are very positive. There you go. Again, I'll be entirely honest that they've changed. Last time I checked this, they had changed to all-time reviews being very positive, recent reviews saying mixed, which I thought was more accurate. I personally don't think Fallout 4 is very good. I think it's pretty bad compared to other titles. Even compared to 3, it's bad. But at the time it came out, everyone said it was amazing. Hell, even I liked it. But as time went on, and I really sat down and thought about it a bit more, my opinion changed. I don't think it was as good. Hell, I tried being positive about Assassin's Creed Shadows when it came out, and as time went by, I said, nope, it's not good. Better example, Ghost of Yotei. I tried being very nice when I first sort of was thinking about them, but as I sort of sat down and thought about it a bit more, the longer I played it, and after finishing, I was like, you know what? It really wasn't that amazing. It wasn't anything different than it had done, and it kind of felt a little weaker and worse than the previous title. My point being that because this game is going to come out off the bat amazing, people are going to just say it's going to give it 10s out of 10s. And again, I don't imagine this game will be awful. It'll be fine. And that's the key word. Fine. It will be Grand Theft Auto. It's not going to come down from the heavens and change everything for the future. It's not going to wow me to the point where nothing else. It's not going to elicit the emotions of that one clip that I think of where the guy is like, 10 out of 10, best game ever. I think people usually put that over a Spider Man clip. I don't even know if it was him playing Spider Man. It's not going to do this. It's going to come out, and it's going to be Grand Theft Auto. You're going to play it, you're going to commit crimes, you're going to do shit. It'll probably start a new debate about violence in video games, because it always does, even though that's been long debunked. They always bring it back up. They tried bringing it back up a few years ago, and it didn't go with GTA 6, and it didn't go well. It'll happen again. Um, and yeah, and then people will act like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread when it really isn't. then people will move on. I'll play the online when it comes out, and yeah, I still firmly believe there's going to be a lot of people pissed when the online comes isn't out at launch because they probably don't realize it is. It is. I'm almost positive there's a lot of people who don't know that the online is not included at launch. Again, Schadenfreude. I am happy to see them upset or suffer, and I think that's part of what this is as well. I am angry at them for the way they have discussed it and talked about it, but I am also weirdly happy about seeing their having to justify things. The biggest one, probably the 30 FPS. Seeing people justify 30 FPS in this day and age is hilarious when it just simply is not acceptable. It looks like from the leak, it looks like GTA a little bit nicer, and that's what it was going to look like. If they've been working on this for 12 years, that means they were probably working on it back around, when their most recent thing was still GTA 5. Like, and then Red Dead 2 came out in between that. They maybe incorporated some stuff into that. Like, they were working on this back almost 2 console generations ago. Well, not quite. Nah, it was PS4 era. But yeah, like a whole other console generation. A lot of stuff's changed since then. That's probably the reason why it's stuck that way. Because when a game's in development for so long, if it was being designed for something at that time, and then technology's advanced and consumer standards have advanced, or what's popular is advanced, then it changes. I think about how when that what's it called game 007 game came out, and there was a reference to a guy who did that. I don't even remember his name, and I remember there was a trailer showing off like guy from TikTok is in game, and I'm like, who? And a lot of people were like, that shows how long this game was in development. They got him when he was a trending meme, and by the time of its release, it was no longer a meme thing, and it made no sense. You can only imagine the references that are going to be in this game from over a decade ago that are not relevant anymore. Unless they got people back in the booth constantly to re-record stuff, or they got people to change references and stuff. Who knows? So yeah, there's my rant about GTA 6. That's all done. I've got really nothing else to add. I could see, unless I just keep talking in circles, which I often do. So I won't. In my heart of hearts, I know this game's going to sadly do well. I just really do hope that it doesn't do well enough, and that there is enough backlash and enough yelling and enough shouting and enough anger that some things can change with what these games are setting the precedent for. As I said at the start, I am almost certain that that it was done between Sony and Rockstar on purpose, the discless future. The fact that they announced it and then a week later was the announcement by Sony that by 2028 they were going to cease disc production. The timing is too close. It's too perfect. It's and the fact that like Sony have already done so much with Rockstar when the final like trailer and release date came out, and when the announcement of discless thing, the fucking PlayStation app on your phone had a whole like the colors changed to fit GTA 6. When you launched the PlayStation 5, it played a fucking little trailer for it. Like the amount of shit Sony are doing for Take Two and Rockstar is ridiculous. They clearly had to be in cahoots on that. So yeah. The only thing to do is try and stay positive and hope that they will improve. That something will happen. And it might take a while. People have talked about how the discless argument or whatever has lost momentum. And it has. Anything does. But that's because it's not a sprint, it is a marathon. Sony were never going to overturn their decision at the drop of a hat. Because they think they can write it out. They think they can wait. They think they can bombard you with enough information to make you forget. Right? They released they did the whole. I firmly believe that the Black Ops 1 and 2 re-releases were done on purpose to try and make people forget or go, yes, Master Sony, we forgive you. And it worked for some. The constant email bombardments and constant Twitter posts about upcoming games is designed to make you forget. Everything they're doing, they want you to forget. They want you to move on. They want you to give in. But it don't. Dig your heels in and make a stand. Same with GTA. If you're against the discless future, do not buy it. I am not buying it. I refuse to, on principle. I wasn't all that interested to begin with, because it's GTA and they're fine. They're whatever games. Really, there's only one thing I'm interested in this game, and that's the male strip clubs. I want to see how they're doing it. Can I get a lap dance from a man, or are they going to be hanging dong? I'll be entirely honest. I want to see that. Yeah, I'm straight, but I want to see how they're doing that because honestly, hey, if they're going to have if they've had the option to go to strip clubs since Vice City, it's only and they've said they're having male ones. I want to see how far they're taking it. I want to see how far they're going to go further as well. They've had prostitutes in these games. They're going to have gigolos. Can you get a male prostitute playing as the chick character? I don't even know the character's names. That's how much I don't care. But yeah, dig your heels in, make a stand, and understand that it was never going to take a day. It could take a year. It could take multiple years. It could take an entire console generation. It might just take the PlayStation 6 failing at the start. And I say at the start because it might be something they change by the end of it. And they might have to rethink their whole strategy midway through that lifespan. Look what happened with Xbox and just the Kinect for Xbox One. Microsoft was so like was such into sunken cost about Kinect. Like they were so dogged about Kinect being a thing that they included it, even though it made the Xbox One more expensive than the PS4, and people hated the Kinect. And by a couple of years into the Xbox lifespan, they released the game. They released the console without Kinect. You could buy one without it. They gave in because they saw that people weren't buying it, and one of the reasons was Kinect. And it could be the same thing. They will see that people aren't buying the PlayStation 6 because discs aren't included, and they will be forced to change their mind once they realize that waiting it out didn't work. Thank you for watching this. If you enjoyed this, in any case, then do whatever. Like, follow, you know what to do. Like and follow, that's not a thing. Subscribe, whatever it is. I'm also on Twitch. You can find that in my own channel's description. I'm not going to bother saying that stuff every time. I find it annoying if I'm being honest, because if anyone wants to find information, it's on the channel. You can see it. So if you enjoyed this, then yeah, feel free to do any of that stuff. I won't force you. You can do what you want. You're an adult, I assume. You should be. I've sworn a bunch. All right. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.